Welcome to the aiming guide. I swear, this time it's not a joke. You know, you guys remember the last time. You know, it was April Fools. Okay. One of the most common questions I get is, should I flick or track or lead or whatever? Well, use all of them. Each aiming style has their strengths and weaknesses. So first of all, let's really quickly go through all the aiming styles before we begin. Okay, so the best way to aim with Hanzo, in my opinion, is first of all, you track your target with your movement keys, and this way you don't have to move your mouse as much. So you just track your target and then use the mouse to get your crosshair ahead of the target, and then you just let the target run into your arrow. This way of aiming is definitely the best way to hit long-range shots. It's definitely gonna be slower than if you go for flick shots. So if the target is close, you might just wanna go for a flick shot instead of like waiting until you feel like the target is gonna keep running towards your arrow. The smaller the flick, the more reliable it is. And then we also have the arga flicks. You guys think that I do it just for swag purposes, but there's actual science behind it as well. There's two types of arga flicks. The first one is when I'm letting go of the left click and I feel like I'm going to miss. I will try to flick to the right direction as hard as I can to move the crosshair a couple pixels in the tiny time frame where I'm still lifting my finger off the left click. The other type is when I flick as hard as I can to move the crosshair as fast as possible and then release the arrow mid-flick. I usually try to curve the flick at the target to increase the time frame where I can release the arrow. You can also combine this with the matrix dodge move that I showed you in the previous guide video. Let's go through a bunch of clips so that I can open your mind to prediction and aiming with Hanzo. Crosshair placement is extremely important, and even more important when you lower your sensitivity. Basically what this means is you will position your crosshair to where you think the enemy will pop out from. So you minimize the amount that you actually have to move your crosshair once you acquire a target. Like here you can see, first I turn to the right when I peek, since I expect the backline to be outside the point, using the wall next to me as cover. So my crosshair is immediately on target, and since I'm aiming at the Anna from the side and my team is to the right, she will be strafing away and towards me. Plus, once I hit her or my teammates hit her, she will panic and start running towards the only cover, as in she will start running towards me. So this will be a guaranteed free kill on the Anna. At the same time, I hear Craggy behind me, so I immediately lunge to make it harder for him to hit me. And then while shooting at him, I run towards the pillar to block damage while I charge more arrows. This lets me win the 1v1 against him. And here's the big brain part. I hear the Hanzo shooting at me, so I immediately leap to cover while simultaneously listening to the arrow hit sounds. None of the shots was a sonic arrow, which means the Hanzo won't know if I turn around. So since I see that he goes for the main entrance to intercept me, I immediately turn around to shoot him since he's running in a straight line, giving me a easy free guaranteed headshot. Here's a clip where I use pretty much every way of aiming. You can see here I used the curved emergency flick to headshot Samito, since it was the only way I could get my crosshair to the correct position before he escapes line of sight. And also, you know, it's Samito. You have to try to include some swag when you go for that. Let's move on. And here on the Lucio, I'm just waiting for him to run into my crosshair, but it looks like he's actually going to jump right, so I go for a flick to try to hit him. I estimate that I only have time for one more shot until he escapes my line of sight, so I wait as long as possible to figure out if he's gonna jump right, left, or just keep running forward away from me. I see that he's going to go right, so I jump to get an angle on him, and I also lunge forward to get closer to increase my chances of hitting the shot. Next, I see the Anna far away, so I line up my crosshair to the correct height and see her strafing to my right, so I move my crosshair by strafing and only moving the crosshair with my mouse by a couple pixels. Then finally it's time for some tank busting, so I do one normal arrow flick since I have it loaded up anyways and have to wait for the next swing to have an easier time tracking the ball with rapid fire to finish him off. Let's look at this other flank clip to show you the power of shooting someone from the side. I shoot my Sonic onto the hog to eliminate the loud Sonic landing sound. This way the enemy team won't be aware that I can see them. Simultaneously, I hear the Anna to my right, so I immediately start moving my crosshair to where she will be peeking from. She also jumps past the door, so she won't be able to change direction, making it very easy to predict her movement. And since she's right next to my crosshair, I only have to do a very safe, tiny flick to land the headshot. Here we can see the enemy team is shooting at my team to the left, which means they will be strafing towards and away from me, just like the Anna in the Nepal clip. Also, since they still don't seem to be aware of me, I take my time with the shot, using movement keys as well to reduce the amount I need to use the mouse to get my crosshair on point. Then finally I popped rapid fire since it's only tanks left and we're all shooting at them, so I don't need to go for a pick. It's enough to just overwhelm the tanks with damage. Prediction is the essence of Hanzo. If you want to hit shots at medium range or further, you have to predict where they are going to go. If the target is aware of you, it's probably not worth it to keep shooting at them, especially at very long range. Okay, here both the Anna and the Lucio shot at me, so it's obvious they know I'm going to shoot at them, which makes them very unpredictable. And the Junkrat definitely saw me as well, since he quickly ran for cover after trying to run through the choke point. So normally if you're not really thinking about choosing the best target, you would instinctively try to flick the Lucio here. You would have a really low chance of actually killing him. But notice how there's a uncontested Hanzo further away, strafing slowly with a loaded bow. So what I decide to do here is I ignore all these targets that know I'm shooting at them and just shoot at the Hanzo instead. I just spam shots on the Lucio, hoping that some of them will connect so that my tracer can finish him off. At the same time, I see the Anna going for the peek, so I immediately just shoot an arrow at the corner to try to pick her off. I back off since I don't want to be in a tiny hallway against Junkrat nades. Once again, the Hanzo doesn't know that I'm aiming at him, and since he's completely uncontested, his movement is very predictable, especially since he's simply strafing just to move his crosshair. I position my crosshair at the headshot level near the corner, since he will be strafing back into the view to be able to continue shooting at my team. Then the Anna is jumping and getting sprayed by our Mei, so she will be extremely slow and predictable. I see the Lucio jumping for the sign to boost off from it, so I immediately just shoot the next arrow at the corner of the sign. Then I leap forward to make it easier to land the final shot and just do a quick flick to finish him off. Okay, here I ult the back of the cafe to try to kill anyone who's inside, and I simultaneously block the way so that Anna can't back up and reinforcements can't run into the cafe from the back door. This leaves the Anna with nowhere to go, since if she goes backwards she will die to the dragon, if she goes forward she gives up the high ground and jumps into the Brigitte. So I just shoot at her current position to close off the final place she can survive on. Since I blocked off the back entrance to the cafe, the enemy team will be coming in from the other entrance behind me, so I put down a Sonic and position my crosshair to where they would be running in from. This way I get an easy headshot on the tracer. I do a melee right after just in case I would have only hit a body shot, since body shot plus melee will kill a full HP tracer anyways. I don't see anyone else coming in from this entrance, which means the rest of the enemy team will be in the cafe or standing next to the door into the cafe. So I position my crosshair onto the cafe door. I see the Mercy on the doorway, so I just do a flick a bit to the right, since there's no way she's going to keep going towards my team to the left. Then I turn to this Pepega Sombra that is just strafing, and I wait for as long as possible to make his movement as predictable to me as possible, and then just release the arrow, letting her run into it.
Fresh nuts! Fresh nuts!
This is definitely the most controversial part of this video. So I personally think that you should get a big mouse pad and set your sensitivity as low as possible. Lowest that I could go before it became difficult to fight a Tracer or Genji was 800 DPI and 4.69 sensitivity. The lower your sensitivity, the bigger margin for error you have when moving the mouse. Like, well, imagine if I actually had the default sensitivity of 15 and I want to flick this target. It could be a body shot, I don't care, like he's low HP. So I'm going for the flick. So as long as I end my mouse movement anywhere between here and here, it's gonna hit the target. Now imagine if I actually have my real low sensitivity that I normally use, 4.69. Now if I flick the target, I will hit as long as my mouse is anywhere between here and here. Can you see how huge the difference is? So basically what I'm trying to show you here is that the lower your sensitivity, the more inconsistent your mouse movement can be and you will still hit the target. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this guide helped open your eyes to how to think when playing Hanzo. If it did, smash that like button and leave a comment to tell me if you want to see the flanking guide next or tips on how to hit specific heroes. If you want to learn more right now, just tune into my stream on Twitch. You can just sit back, relax, and try to think about how and why I do the things I do. I've also been told that I'm actually pretty entertaining as well. So there's more than just the educational aspect. We're even playing Minecraft during queues right now, so come hang out.